Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. This is Barb Bruno and Matt Connolly, and I want to welcome you to this webinar. I'm very excited to be with you today because as a business breakthrough tutor client, you're the first that are going to receive the sales performance indicator. Matt, I'm hearing a lot of noise on your end. If you could mute something out, Matt. I'm hearing a tremendous amount of background noise. And you're all going to get this sales performance indicator free, which is, of course, good news. They say you don't get anything for nothing, but you invested in the Business Breakthrough Tutor, which is why you're going to get this metric product free. When you first go in, staffing and recruiting basically is a sales profession, which is a numbers game. And what's nice about this system when you get in here, you're just going to realize that when you start tracking numbers, numbers don't lie. And the sales performance indicator is going to help you know exactly where to put your focus and to help anybody that works for you attain their goals consistently. Consistent sales and profits will also guarantee that you can live the lifestyle that you deserve as the business owner. It's important that you understand the benefits of utilizing the sales performance indicator. And the reason that's so important is because in reality, what you don't measure doesn't count. But unless you get excited about this tool, it's going to be hard to show your people the benefit to them to utilize the sales performance indicator, which is why I wanted to do this webinar live. The sales performance indicator is going to help your business achieve or surpass production and profit goals. And basically what it will do is eliminate slumps or inconsistent production. There is no reason for slumps. If people are tracking metrics on a daily basis, they're going to pick up on things that are not working, which will eliminate slumps. You can make informed decisions as a leader utilizing accurate data. I know, I have owners call me all the time and say, I don't even know what minimum standards of performance to set. I don't even know what metrics are good and what's average, what's bad. This is going to solve all that for you. You're going to make informed decisions and you're going to be able to set minimum standards because the numbers are going to give you the guidance. You're also going to identify and anticipate trends versus being blindsided. 2008, 2009, we lost so many staffing and recruiting firms because, quite frankly, the owners were blindsided. They didn't see things coming down the road. And when you're managing based on numbers, when you see ratios going up, the economy is going down. Something's not going right out there when your ratios start increasing, and they'll increase across the board. They'll increase for your recruiters, they'll increase for your client development people inside, outside. And as an owner, when you see numbers or stats increasing, that something is going on. And to be real honest with you, I'd love to say we're never going to have a downturn, we're never going to have another recession. This business has always been cyclical. I've been in it for 30 years and it's up and down. And will there be a downturn? Of course there will. We don't know when. There's nothing predicted in the near future, but you'll be able to anticipate it when it happens. The other thing is your team must understand the what's in it for them of tracking their numbers. All they care about is themselves. And so when you roll this out to them, they have to see the benefit to them to track their numbers or they won't do it. Because again, this is not something they're currently doing every day. This is not part of their habits of working their desk. And so when you expose your team to this, you've got to explain the benefits to them. This is going to basically help them achieve or surpass sales and income goals. So if you say to them, wouldn't you love to consistently hit or surpass your goals? They have to understand that this system is going to give them the exact results they need every day to consistently hit or surpass their goals. They're going to enter stats, and we've done it with icons. We've made this very, very easy for them. But all the ratios and the point systems are automatically calculated for them. So they don't have to figure anything out. They're going to just enter in numbers, and they can enter in numbers as they're making their calls, or they can open this up and just enter them before lunch and at the end of the day, or even just at the end of the day. It depends on how they work their desk. But your employees will also attain their income goals and control their own destiny because they're going to know what they're doing and what they're not doing by numbers. And so, again, when you roll this out to them, they've got to understand this if they're going to use it. This system was designed for owners who have no time to track numbers or metrics. Every owner I talk to would love to know numbers, but don't have time to track the numbers. They just don't feel that they have the time, or the energy to have to do this or try to force their people to do this. Well, when you roll this out, this can't be if you want to do it, do it. This has to be, this is something that's going to help all of us get better. And your people don't have to know that this is something you got free because you invested in our business breakthrough tutor. This is something that you've invested in. as a business breakthrough owner to make them better, to help them track their time, to help them, attain the goals that they have. The number one rule for our tech team was KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And I've got Matt on this call with me. It was Matt and his tech team that designed this. And I know I drove them nuts, when they were developing this. Matt, you've got tremendous background noise. You got to mute out. You got to mute yourself out. I don't know what's going on, Matt, but when you come on, there's so much background noise. Hopefully, when we open it for questions, there won't be as much noise where Matt's at. He is on the line, and again, he and his tech team, our rule for them was please keep this simple. It's icons, it's entering a number, it's one or two clicks. And the reason we did that is because I'm no different than the people that work for you, and I'm no different than you are. Quite frankly, I would rather do anything than 10 with details. That's just who we are. We're salespeople. We want to see the big picture. We just want to go out there and sell. We don't want to necessarily track what we're doing. But in this business, we're in sales. It's a numbers game. You've got to know your numbers. But we have made this system so simple. Even our instructional videos, I think none of them are longer than 3 or 4 minutes. Because, I knew that if I made videos that were too long or too cumbersome, your team wouldn't watch them. And so this really is extremely easy to use. And I want to make sure that all of you realize that so that you become comfortable with it and you're comfortable rolling it out to your sales team. We divided this tool into 3 areas: recruiter, client development inside, and client development outside. The recruiter stats will be kept by anybody that's interacting with candidates, anybody that's on the recruiting part of the process. The client development inside is obviously anybody that's doing sales, but they're not an outside rep for you. They're working inside. Now, many people do both recruiting and client development. They work a full desk. And so in that case, they'll keep 2 sets of stats and they'll get 2 sets of ratios. But if somebody is only doing recruiting, they will only track their recruiting numbers. If you have somebody in outside sales, they will do the client development outside stats. Now, you may wonder, how did we come up with what stats to monitor? The stats that are monitored in the sales performance indicator are the exact stats that I teach you to monitor in the Top Producer Tutor. I know most of you own my training program. And so the stats, the training, everything around this metric product is in line with what I've been teaching in the Top Producer Tutor for years. Also, as I was developing this, obviously statistics kept by some firms are a little different than others. Like some people want to track reactivated candidates as opposed to new candidates that are recruited. Or they want to track, how many job orders or assignments or contracts are written as a result of marketing a candidate versus just making marketing presentations or sales calls. So we've split them up. So the only ratios you're going to keep are the ones you want as the owner. And once you go through this, you're going to determine it. But believe me, we really limited the number of stats being tracked because we knew that it would be easy to use and more people would use it. Again, individuals are only going to fill out the stats in their specific area of responsibility. If they work that full desk, they're going to fill out both the recruiting and client development stats. We wanted to make this easy, and so before you or your people enter stats for the first time, there's a training tab. And basically you're going to click on that training tab, you're going to stop before you do anything, and you're going to watch the instructional videos. And like I said, there's 6 instructional videos. Not everybody is going to watch all of them. They're only going to watch the videos in their area of responsibility, but they're short. They're 3 to 4 minutes long, and it will give them a step-by-step how to use this program. And again, this is very similar to the tutor where you can't get in trouble. You can't really make a big mistake. And we did that because we know the personalities of the people that are going to be using this. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. And quite frankly, I'm excited to show you the sales performance indicator. And so what I want to do now is actually go to the product. And what you're looking at now is the login page. And to access this login page, you're going to go to salesperformanceindicator.com/login. So I'm going to repeat that for you if you want to write that down. To access the login page of the Sales Performance Indicator, all of you have received an email from us. You've all been given a username and password. And so to access this page, you just go to salesperformanceindicator.com/login. And to save time, you may want to save the URL in your favorites. And I suggest that you have your people do the same, that they put salesperformanceindicator.com/login in their favorites. Step 1, when you come here, you're going to log in utilizing the username and password that Beth sent to you. But then the system is going to ask you to change your password. And the reason it's going to ask you to change your password is obviously you want to use, you want a password that is something that you're going to remember. And so let me log in real quick. I just set up an admin account for myself and a dummy password here. So let me log in real quick. Let's see here. And again, you can remember, your username and password where you don't have to do this, over and over again. And then you're just going to click the login button. And so, whoops, let's see here. Let me try this again. Obviously.
You tapped Z. You typed it in wrong. You typed Z.
Let me type in my password again and click login. Okay, this is me logged into the system now. And so this is what you're going to see when you log in. This is the page that you're going to be on when you log in. And so you can see that it brings you right to the manage users because you're an owner. And this system has the 3 levels of hierarchy, just like our tutor does. Owners can do certain things, managers can do certain things, recruiters can do certain things. Your recruiters can just come in here and track their stats. That's it. They don't see anybody else's numbers. They just see their own statistics. If you have a manager, you're going to enter them in the system as a manager. And then if you assign people to them, all your managers are going to see is what they're doing, their own stats. And then they're going to see the stats of the people they manage. As an owner, you see everybody. You see your own stats if you're still working a desk. You see your manager's stats, and you see everyone that works for you. And we've tried again to make this simple. Like when you're looking at this, you can see I've got 2 people that we just entered into this dummy account. If you want to add another person, all you're going to do is click on Add User. And when you come to Add User, you can see this page opens, and you're going to put a person's email address, their password, their first name, last name. What is their role? So you're going to tell the system, okay, is this a manager or is this a member? Is this somebody that works for me? Then you're going to put the address, and your company information will be in there. And then you're going to submit it to the system, and then that person would be added to the system. So this is how simple it is to add a user. You merely just click that one tab, add a user, and fill in their information. You can see that next to the person's name, you see several icons here. If I click the plus icon, that basically gives me all the statistics on my user. And I mentioned earlier that there's a point system. And my husband, Tony, had developed a 140-point system years ago. And it was a proven fact if somebody attained 140 points a day, that they would be a consistent producer. And what I did as an extra bonus for the sales performance indicator is we have the point system in here that's automated. And so say you have somebody who's not attaining their goals. Look at how many points they're attaining a day, because what we did is we gave the actions that are closest to the money higher points. The actions that are just busy tasks, very low points. And so when you click on somebody's name, that's this first chart you're going to see is the point system. And it shows you their points for the day, the points for the week, the points annually. So it's going to be broken down monthly and annually. On the right-hand side, you see their ratios. So you can see, here's the recruiter. You're going to see their ratios for today. You're going to see their ongoing ratios. So as long as they're in the system is calculating what they did today and their ongoing ratios. So the points are nothing they have to track. The points are just automatically being tracked. And if you tell them, you want to attain at least 140 points a day, then they're going to try to do the things with the higher points, which basically the system is showing them where to prioritize their actions. You can see on the right-hand side, there's client development inside, today's ratios and the ongoing ratios. And notice, even in client development, we've got marketing call to job order, or we've got MPC presentations. So if they're using a candidate to generate an order, contract, or temp assignment, they're entering their stats here. If they're not, if they're making a pure marketing call, they're going to enter their numbers here. So again, all of these stats that we're using are it's best practices. It's the stats that the most successful firms are tracking in order to give the owner, the type of information you need. You can see on the left-hand side, there's your direct production sales. And we've got it broken down, into monthly, and then we've got direct hire broken down annually. You see on the right-hand side, now we're doing client development outside. If you have an outside sales team, they track different numbers. You want to know, how many face-to-face appointments they're getting. So the numbers are different for the outside person, and so are the ratios as opposed to inside salespeople. And then on the left-hand side, you can see the temp or contract gross margin of profit. We do it, monthly, and we do it annually. And then again, we're tracking their stats, for all the years that they're going to be in the system. So eventually you can go back and on this one page, just by clicking that plus sign next to somebody's name, you're seeing all this information on everybody that works for you. So again, we're trying to make this really simple. You're busy, you're an owner, you might still be working a desk. You can come to this Manage User tab, click on a plus sign, and see every single thing on each individual that works for you. The next button that you see over here is Inactivate. If you want to inactivate a user, you would just come here and basically it's asking you, do you really want to inactivate this person? Obviously, I'm going to hit cancel now because I don't want to inactivate anybody. The next tab, the pen and pencil, that basically is to edit information on an employee. So say that something changed on an employee, some information changed on an employee, you're just going to click here to edit the information. The next icon, the arrows are to clear data. If you have somebody that leaves you, they're no longer with you, and you want to clear their data, you can just click on that and clear all of their data. And the last icon, that envelope, is that just they lose their username, they lose their password. You can come here and click on that envelope, and now their username and password is going to be sent to them. So again, you see how simple this is. There's only 5 icons, and most of them you're not going to use on a regular basis. The only 2 you're really going to look at most of the time would be, the plus sign, which gives you all the details that you need. And again, you've got the 140 point system in there, you've got their production, you've got all their ratios when you just click on one little plus sign. So again, we're trying to make this as easy to use as possible by just clicking on the one plus sign and getting all your stats. Now I want you to click on the goal setting tab, because when you first enter your people, you're going to want to go to goal setting and you're going to want to set what you want them to do. For instance, I put in, $500,000 that I want Nancy Phillips to do $500,000 this year. And so that could either be $500,000 in direct placement, or that could be $500,000 in gross margin of profit in contractor temp. So if I put that number in, you can see that it automatically goes to all the months, and it enters in 41,666.67, because that basically is what it would take monthly, to earn that. If I change this, if I put the annual production of 400, all I have to do is click outside of the box, and you can see it changed all the monthly production to 333.33. Now, what if you start a new person, and so for 1 month, when they first start with you, they're not going to do those kind of sales. So maybe in their first month, all you're going to require of them is that they do $10,000. The minute you click outside of the box, notice it changed the annual production. So you can go in here and you can enter different numbers every month that you want them to earn, or if an experienced person and you know what you want them to earn in a year, you just put in the annual amount. And to change this, all you're going to do is click in the box, you're going to backspace and say that I want this person to do $250,000 in a year. So I just put $250,000. I click outside of the box and notice how it changed all the monthly. So again, you can either go month by month and put in exactly what you want them to do every month, or you just put in an annual total, and then it will automatically calculate the monthly totals for you. So this is, again, really easy. It's a matter of backspacing, typing in the total, and clicking, clicking outside the box. Okay, I want to go back to my stats right now, because this is where you're actually going to see your own stats. If you're working a desk, I want to show you right now the stats that you're going to track and the stats that your team is going to track. And if you look here, when I clicked on my stats, you can see here's basically the 3 areas. It's recruiting, it's client development inside, client development outside. And then of course the next tab is going to be their actual production and sales revenue. So I want to show you how to enter a stat. Say that I'm a recruiter, okay, and at the end of the day I realize I've made 20 recruiting calls, 20 recruiting presentations. All I'm going to do is enter the number 20, and I'm going to click the Submit tab if I work for you and I'm a recruiter. It's going to pop up and ask me, are you sure this is what you want to add? And I'm going to say, okay, yes, that's the number I want to add. Notice that automatically the calculator in our system took those 20 calls and gave it 40 points. So now at the top here, you can see that the system is telling me, okay, so far you scored 40 points so far today. So on this particular date and time, you've scored 40 points. Your minimum standard is 140 points today. And that's facing your people all the time. And so maybe I come here and I say, okay, recruiting hits. Now if I get a hit, I get 5 points. And say I got 2 recruiting hits. I'm going to hit submit. And it's going to ask me, are you sure you want that? And I'm going to say, okay. And so now that gave me 10 points. Notice how the system automatically increases the point score to 50, because I entered this in. Now, what if I thought I had a hit and the person calls me back and says, you know what, I've decided I'm not interested. I don't want to deal with you. I could put -1 in because now I put 1 too many. And if I put -1 in, I'm going to hit submit and I'm going to say, yes, I put 1 too many. My points for recruiting hits is going down by 5 because I -1, and look at my points on top automatically calculated. So see, we have made the system so easy, and in recruiting, these are the stats they're keeping. They're keeping recruiting presentations, they're tracking their recruiting hits, and we explain what each of these is. Reactivated hits, if you want to separate, are they reactivating somebody out of your database or is it a new candidate? If you want to split that out, we've split that out because many companies want to track that. How many candidate interviews did they do in phone or by person? How many interviews did they do of reactivated candidates? They're going to submit that. How many sendouts? Notice sendouts is a much higher value, 15 points if they book a sendout, between their candidate and a client. And then if you want them to separate their sendouts between sendouts of candidates or sendouts of reactivated candidates, we've done that as well. And then reference checks, how many reference checks are they completing? And then placements or fills. Notice if they get a placement or fill, they get 25 points. So see, if they don't have a placement or a fill, they have to hustle to get the 140 points. And again, we're putting the heavy points, like 15 points, on sendouts, because obviously we want that to be where their attention is. And so these are the only stats they're going to keep. And so when you look at this, there's only 9 stats. And if you don't separate reactivated from, any candidates, you just want everybody under recruiting hits, they're only keeping 6 stats. So we tried to make this very simple. And again, they could do this as they're making the calls. You can minimize this and have it at the bottom of your computer. And so as they're making calls, they can click in every time they make a call. Or if they're doing an hour and a half of, they blocked off an hour and a half to do recruiting, at the end of the hour and a half, they could put in their numbers, or they can wait to the end of the day. So it depends on how they're working their desk and how you want them to use the system. But this is something you need to decide how you want your people to do this. Do you want them entering it with every phone call because it's just 2 clicks? Or do you want them to end it at the end of a block of time or the end of the day? Then the next stats are client development inside. Again, we've separated this out. They're going to write down how many marketing calls they made. They're going to mark down, say that I made 10 marketing calls, so I'm going to enter 10 marketing calls and hit submit. It's going to ask me if I want to do that. I'm going to say, okay, I get 20 points. Now, again, I'm in as one person, so notice it added my marketing call. If I'm working a full desk, I've got 65 points right now. Because if I'm working a full desk, it's still giving me my credit for what I'm doing in recruiting as well as what I'm doing in marketing. If they're only entering in marketing stats, then they're going to start with 0. They're not going to have points that carry over from the recruiting portion of this tool. So say that submittals to clients, I'm submitting. So say I did 5 submittals and I'm adding that in. Again, it's going to calculate the points. It's going to keep adding the total to my total points for the day, which, again, everything is automated. They don't have to total up anything. See, it went up to 75 points. And we've separated this out between job orders and contracts received from marketing calls or job orders and temps received as a result of marketing a candidate. So they have to read what these icons are. They're going to track sendouts, and then they're going to track fill by themselves or fill by others. And notice, again, these points are high. If I put 1 in here and I put submit, I get 25 points, because I basically made a fill that day. So these are the stats that they're going to track. And you can see on this page, we have a total of 8 stats. If you're not separating out the marketing candidates from just marketing calls, then they're only going to keep 6 stats. We've tried to limit the number of stats they're going to track to just make it easy. Next, I'm going to go to client development outside. This is if you have an outside salesperson. And, if you're working a desk, you're going to track your own stats as well. If you want to see the stats and ratios of your people, you're going to either click on everybody's name or you're going to go to management reports, which I'm going to show you where those are. but you're also going to track your own activity, and nobody's going to see that but you. So outside salespeople, obviously, when they schedule a face-to-face appointment, we're giving them 5 points. When they actually complete a face-to-face appointment, we're giving them 10 points. So say that they scheduled 2 today, so we're going to submit that, okay? And that's going to give them, the additional 10 points. Say that they completed four calls today, and I'm going to submit that, okay? And I'm going to go, okay. And that's going to give them the additional 40 points. Now notice, because I'm logged in as one person, it keeps adding up my points to what I've done so far. So if somebody's doing recruiting, but they make an outside sales call, they'd come in here so they get credit for it toward their 140 points. We also have them tracking marketing calls. Are they doing marketing presentations, just pure marketing presentations, or are they using a candidate to make a marketing call? We've given this a higher value because when they use a candidate, they get better results. They're also tracking how many job orders or contracts or temp assignments they're writing, if they made a fill by themselves or fills by others, and then did they book any sendouts. So, again, you're only going to track the stats that reflect what you're doing, for a living. You're not going to track any stats that don't reflect your job description. Now I want to go to production and sales revenue, because this is where they're going to enter, this basically is where they've got, you can see what they've done, their points daily. You can also see their production on a monthly basis, on a direct hire basis, and this is where they can go and see their stats. They can see everything they're doing. Now on the My Stats tab, if they want to enter in, let me go back to My Stats. If they want to enter in their sales numbers, say they made a placement, they're going to enter in the amount here. So say that in direct production, I had 25,000. That was the total of my placement fee, and I click that. Then that's going to automatically reflect when I go to my sales revenue. So any sales that they enter, whether it's direct production or it's their gross margin of profit that they enter, then when you go to the production and sales revenue and you're that person tracking their stats, you can see that it's Thursday, and and my points came up. Those are remember I had earned points because I kept entering my points in, and you also can come down here to direct hire, and you're going to see that the placement is there because I entered a $25,000 placement. And when you go to these, it's kind of neat because when you click on these, you can actually see what these are. So when I'm clicking on the different, the different bar graphs, it shows me what this is. So if they're wondering, what is this? Every time they go to production, and this is individuals that are going to do this, or if you want to see your own sales, you go to individual production. If you want to see your team, you basically check on their name, you click on their name. The next bar is my ratios, and this is where it's going to show. Like obviously these ratios make no sense because I've just been putting in some funny numbers today, but today's ratios are recruiting presentation to hit. I put down that I made 20 calls and I only got 1 hit. So my ratio is showing that I've got 20 to 1. I'm making 20 recruiting presentations before I get a hit. I said that I remember I put in that I got 1 hit on reactivating a candidate and a regular candidate. So it's showing me I only made 1 call, so it's 1 to 0 right now. So any numbers that I put in there, those numbers I just entered, you can see they're reflected. I said I did 10 marketing calls. So my marketing to job order, contract, or temp assignment is 10 to 0 because I just put those numbers in. But I did say that I made a fill. So you can see that the fills are showing, which is funny because I didn't put any send out numbers. So it's showing I booked no send outs, but I got a fill because those were the numbers that I just put in the account that I opened. And on the outside, remember I said I did 4 face-to-face, but I didn't write down that I got an order. So it's showing me that I did four calls, I had 4 appointments, but I didn't write any business. And so this is tracking. You can look at your individual numbers right here, or you can go under manage users and look under anybody else's numbers. Ordering licenses, that is something that none of you are going to have to do because what we're doing is we're giving you the system free and you've got 10 licenses. So what that means is it's rolling over. So it's not that you have 10 people that can use this and when you make your 11th hire, you have to pay for somebody because you've got 10 from now for the life of your company. That's just my gift to you. And so if you always keep your team under 10, if somebody leaves, you cancel them out and you put somebody else in their place. So you can have, up to 10 people in the system ongoing. Somebody leaves you, you replace them. As long as you've got less than 10 employees, this tool will never cost you a dime. If, you grow over the number 10, you've got more than 10 people that are working for you, then it's $15 per person per month. But, I originally we said, we were going to give you access to this, that you could do this free. I just decided that no, we've got to put in, your people as well. So we felt that 10 was fair because that basically, if you had 10 people in the system and you were paying for it, it would be running you $150 a month. So you have no setup fee, you have no contract, you have no ongoing. You're getting 10 users free to use the system. And so, if you ever go over 10 employees, then you might have to order licenses. The training is just where all the training, the instructional videos are. And you can see I'm logged in as an owner, so you've got your welcome as an owner. And then we gave you all the videos, for the short videos. We gave you the recruiter video, the client development inside, the client development outside video. We gave you the video on how do you track, stats, points, ratios, and production, and then how do you manage users and how do you go to the manage reports. So your people will only have, if they log in and they're a recruiter, they will only see the training, for the recruiter, client development inside, outside, if they're, if they're involved in those. And in their welcome video, we tell them which videos to watch. We tell them if you're a recruiter and you're not doing any client development at all, you just have to watch number 2, and then you have to watch the stats video, because obviously everybody, whether they're inside, outside, recruiting or client development, they want to watch number 5, which is the stats, points, and ratio production. So recruiters will watch 2 and 5. If somebody just does client development inside and that's it, then they're going to watch 3 and 5. And we tell them in their welcome video, the first video, they're going to watch what they need to watch and what they need to do. Because again, we don't want you to have to worry about supporting, you answering questions. This is such an easy system to use. I want to go back to manage users for just a moment, because we do have management reports. And when you click on management reports, there's not much in here right now because obviously we don't have a lot of people entered, but this is where you can go to see the points, the production, both in direct and temp for everybody that works for you. So if you want to see your company as a whole, you're going to come to the manage user reports. If you want to see individuals, you're going to click on the manage user tab and then just click on the plus sign next to everybody's name, and you're going to be able to see all the stats of everybody that works for you. What I want to do now is go back to my PowerPoint presentation. Hold on a second here. Let me click back. Okay, and let's see, let me click this over. Hold on one second. Okay, the tool again can be minimized, and totals can be entered throughout the day as somebody's working. They can be entered, once an hour, in the morning and evening, or they could just be entered at the end of the day, whatever you want. But I would make it kind of standard on how you want people to enter their stats. And basically this takes the guesswork out of calculating stats and individual ratios and impact performance. No one is going to have to calculate anything. So everything is going to be done for them. You saw how automatically, the minute they enter in a number, it's adding up points, it's adding up their ratios. The system is automated. The good news for all of you is there's no setup fee, there's no annual contract, there's no cost to you. You got access to the sales performance indicator for the life of your business with 10 user licenses free. And unlike the tutor, these licenses can be used over and over again as long as you've got 10 users in the system. If you have any questions at all, you contact my office, or you use the same support line you use for the tutor, the support at staffingandrecruiting.com. And what we really want from all of you is your feedback. Once you get in here and you start using it, we have beta tested this, and we've beta tested this extensively. But again, we don't have a large group of people that have beta tested this. Basically, you're the first group that is getting this as a group. And so there are quite a number of companies that invested in our business breakthrough tutor. And so we're anxious to hear your feedback. Once you get in here and you start using this, we've tried to think of everything, but, just like any other product, I'm sure there might be things that come up that you're like, why do we have this? Or why isn't that there? Or how is this calculated? Or I got lost. I mean, we're trying to make it as easy to use as possible, and we think we've thought of everything, but I know there's always room for improvement on no matter what I do. And again, we have changed this thing so many times, and then halfway through I decided to add the point system because that point system works like a charm. So I'm opening the line now. I believe Matt's opened his line, and I don't hear that much background noise now. So if any of you have any questions for Matt Connolly, who is on the line, or myself, please, either, go to your name, go to the attendee list and find your name and click that little yellow hand, and I can unmute your line and we can answer any questions. Or if you'd rather type in a question, you can go to the bottom of the control panel where it says questions, click on that and type in any questions. If it's a personal question that you just want to discuss with us for some reason, or something going on in your office, you can always call our office or send something to the support line. Matt, did you want to add anything in at the end here?
Yeah, Barb, can you hear me okay now?
I sure can, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple things that I would like to say is that we have tested this for sure. I'm sure that this group is going to find things that they want inside the system, and so that's what we're looking for ideas on how we can improve the product for their business, how, things that we perhaps, didn't think of. Like you said, there's going to be things in there that, or maybe that are not inside the product that would be helpful for your business. So we're looking for that type of feedback, and just overall how you're using it. If there's any questions as it relates to that, they can send in an email. And again, what we're trying to do with this product, like you said, Barb, throughout, is to really simplify it. And sometimes a very feature-rich product can be great, but quite often it's something that you don't use. And so that's what we're trying to do with this product, is to simplify it, dumb it down enough so that it actually is something that people use every day, and they, of course, get the value out of it. So we don't want to overwhelm the system with, thousands of features where, before you know it, the control panel looks like a, control panel of a 777 Boeing jet. So we don't want to do that, of course, but nevertheless, this is what we're looking to do with this product, and hopefully we've accomplished that, and definitely looking for the feedback on how we can make it better in the future.
And also, what other thing is, when you get in here, and it does make a difference, if you're not tracking stats and metrics right now, I'm telling you, once you do it, you will see an increase in production, because you're not going to wonder what's wrong. You're going to know what's wrong. You're going to know exactly where to put your attention. It's amazing what numbers do. And when I first gave this to my team, it was a little more difficult to use. And the reason we've been going back and forth is my team had to be willing to use this on a very regular basis, in addition to everything else they do, and not feel that it was slowing them down. I wanted something that they felt was enhancing what they were doing. And, this version of it, they have no problem with it because it's so easy to use and you just can't get in trouble. And it was a lot of their feedback, and other people that at the very beginning, if you remember when we did the Business Breakthrough Tutor, I asked all of you what metrics you wanted to see in a program. And so I used all of your feedback. And then when I was out there training over the last year or so, I've been asking, what are the metrics that you track? And I do a lot of in-house training for some of the most successful companies out there, and I see what metrics they're tracking. And so it was all that input. That's how we designed this. But like Matt said, if there's anything we can improve, we're very open for your suggestions. And of course, I'd love to hear any success stories. If you're using this, if you find it easy to use, if you see that this is really helping you, any testimonials you're willing to give us, obviously we would greatly welcome those, once you're in here, and especially if you see a bump in sales, once you start tracking this, we'd love to know about it, because that's what metrics do. Metrics help you make more money. So I see no additional questions from everybody. I have a lot of people giving us notes that they're very excited, they're very happy they got this. And so please, get in there, use it. What's nice is the end of the month, even if you want to get your people to look at it, give them their usernames and passwords, and maybe start using it on October 1st. Maybe you want to start using it next month rather than start at the end of a month. That'll give you time to get, the production goals in there and to get a little familiar with this. Let them watch all the videos beforehand and then start basically saying, we're going to start using this October 1st. That might be a great idea, because it gives you a few days to get in here and get things done. So thank you for joining us today, and we're very excited to hear your feedback, and I appreciate that so many of you were able to join us today on such short notice. So thanks, everybody. And again, there's the number, there's our email. We're here to support you, help you in any way that we can, so that this really does make a difference. Thanks, everybody.